introduce yourself? Jacob? I was seeing him, but I don't see him anymore. So I would go to the next. I see Meera Singh. Would you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello, good morning. I'm not a new guest. I always attend this meeting
Sure,
online.
Meera. Probably my miss. Any guests who would want to introduce themselves? I see Mark and Monica. I've not seen you guys earlier, so pardon me if Monica, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry about that. So yes, I joined last week. I'm not sure whether I met you, but yeah, I joined last week, and I'm here just for developing my interpersonal skills, because I am shy on the stage. One-on-one, it's fine. When it comes to a group of people, it's always you get anxious, panic, and so I am here just to develop those skills, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Welcome, Monica. I also see Mark. Mark, are you part of this club or some other club, or are you a visiting guest?
Hello. I'm not part of the club, but I am visiting, looking to join a club. And yeah, hello, everyone.
Do you want to introduce yourself to this group?
What do you mean by introduce?
Where are you from? What do you do?
Oh, I am. Excuse me. I am a marketer in Florida, Tampa, Florida. Working for a family business and looking for a Toastmaster club to work on my communication skills.
That's awesome. I think you're at the right platform, and you will learn quite a lot from this Toastmasters group. It has personally helped me quite a lot improve my spoken English, and I hope it will help you as well. Welcome to the club. I also see Rajan joining the meeting. Hi, Rajan. Are you a guest here? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Ekta, I'm a guest. Yes, I'm I'm from India, Pune, and I'm a product manager. What else do I need to say? I don't know the whole
What
thing.
brings you to Toastmasters, Rajan?
Probably public speaking is something I wanted to work upon, and that brought me to Toastmasters.
I think I think you've come to the right platform. Toastmasters definitely helps us all improve our public speaking skills. Welcome to the group, and I hope you'll enjoy the meeting.
Thank you.
With this, I would like to start talking about financial planning. Financial planning for individuals involves creating a comprehensive strategy to manage your finances, meet your financial goals, and secure your financial future. One should start setting their financial goals, defining their short-term and long-term goals. It could include saving for retirement, buying a house, paying off debt, or funding your children's education. Your goals must be SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable, and time-bound, or relevant and time-bound. Today, I would like to talk about key aspects of financial planning, there are 4 aspects that I would like to cover today. One is how you can look at your income, how you can budget your expenses or plan for your expenses and savings together. Next, I would want to talk about your asset planning and importance of managing your liabilities and debts. So these 4 topics are relevant because income statement and balance sheet are 2 key statements that we look at when we plan for any financials or want to assess anyone's financial stability. and income, expenses, assets, and liabilities are the key aspects of any financial planning. With this, I would like to introduce the team today. The timer for today is Susan. Susan, would you want to talk about the timing rules for today?
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. I will be tracking each of the speakers who have assigned time frames. For instance, if the speaker has a speech that is 5 to 7 minutes, they will see a green background show up when they hit the 5, the minimum requirement for their speech. 6 will follow with yellow and 7 will be red, meaning you wrap up within the next 30 seconds. For the table topics, it will be a minimum green of 1 minute, 1.5, and 2. And then for the evaluations, the minimum time is 2 minutes, 2.5, and 3 will be your indicators. And I will keep track of that and give a report towards the end of the meeting.
Thank you so much, Susan. Now I would like to call upon our grammarian for today, Doreen, to talk about the grammarian role and introduce the word of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster. We do have an O'Connor today, correct?
Yes, we do.
Excellent. So as a grammarian, I will be heavily focused on listening to any grammatical issues, as well as any pleasant speech or word or vocabulary choices that just delight us as we're listening, that I can hear as we're going through our talks. The word of the day is frugality. It is in the chat, which is a noun. It's the quality of being economical with money or food, thriftiness. He scorned the finer things in life and valued frugality and simplicity. Frugality, not wasteful with money. So that's the word of the day. Since the topic is personal finance, that is suggested by ChatGPT based upon our theme. So I thought ChatGPT came up with a pretty good suggestion, so I hope it works for you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Doreen, for introducing frugality as the word for the day. Now I introduce our contact, Kamesh.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I joined from my work laptop, so I'm not able to start my video. Apologies for that. So today I would be watching the ahs, ums, and the filler words from each of the speaker in this group, and I'll be providing my report at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kamesh. Now I would like to introduce Maya as the table topic master.
Hi. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Ekta, and the other Toastmasters. I'll be the table topic master for today. I would need some of the volunteers when my segment comes, and I would be giving either the question or any situation so that you can speak impromptu on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maya. I would now like to ask all of you, how many sources of income do you have? How many of you have more than one source of income? Anyone who would want to volunteer on that? Yes, Doreen.
I have more than one source of income because I've always been an author. So my first book I published with Prentice Hall in English and Chinese in Prentice Hall, so that brings an income. And then my more recent books, if you have any kids in college, particularly it's focused on the States though, Galley's Key to Success, Optimize Your College Career, then of course my executive income. So
Thank you so much,
Usually have more
Doreen.
than one.
Anyone else who would say that they have more than one source of income?
I'm pretty sure many people would be having more than one source of income that they are not realizing. I'm a working professional, and apart from that, I do invest in stocks.
Thank you so much, Pramod. Yes.
That gives me a regular income. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. So income is very important, and it is very important that we have multiple sources of income and do not depend solely on our primary source of income. Today, I would like to talk about the 5 sources of income as defined by the Income Tax Act of India. My intent here is to give you a perspective of the multiple sources of income that you all can have for yourself and plan for your future, and not solely depend on one source of income. The first one is income from salaries, which is something that most of the professionals, if employed, would be getting from their employer. It could be in the form of salaries, wages, or any other income that they receive directly from their employer in return for their employment. The second head of income is income from business or profession, where which could be the other primary source of income for people who are self-employed and make funds from trading goods or doing any profession, or when they're self-employed or freelancing, etc. The third source of income is income from house property. Anything that you get as a rent from, be it a commercial property or your residential property that you have rented out, or from vacant land, would fall under the income from house property category. The fourth one is income from capital gains, which you get from selling of any assets, which could be your land, which could be shares, it could be mutual funds, or and the capital gains are divided into short-term and long-term, depending on the tenure that you're holding that asset for. The fifth category of income is income from other sources. Any other source of income which you get generally, other than the other four, the top four that I've spoken about, would generally form part of income from other sources. But this is something that you can all plan to have multiple sources of income, such as dividend income or income from savings account, or the interest that you get from your savings account, or the royalty income that Doreen was talking about that she gets for her books, right? So there are multiple sources of income that you can plan to get from income from other sources. And my personal here is, you should try and see if you can plan for a second continuous source of income, which could be a rental income or some interest that you can get, which gives you some kind of peace of mind that, okay, even if I don't get a salary for a month, I will continue to get a specific consistent amount each month. And with this, I hope you've got some ideas around what could be a second source of income. Now, I would like to talk about or introduce speaker one, Doreen. And before I call upon Doreen, I would like to request Pramod to give the speech topic and the project details.
Dear Toastmasters and guests, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today, Toastmaster Doreen is going to deliver a level 2 speech from the path Persuasive Influence. The title of the speech is Own Every Day Completely. And the time allotted for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Timer, please note, green at 5, yellow at 6, and red at 7. The speaker will get 30 seconds to wrap up the speech after the red card. I wish all the best to the speaker. Over to you, Doreen.
Thank you. Happy Tuesday from the Las Vegas Valley. And for some of you, happy Wednesday. Own Every Day Completely. This is my leadership talk, as you mentioned, on the second pathway for persuasive influence. My name is Doreen Galley. I am here remote from Henderson, Nevada, just outside the Strip, about 10 minutes. And for anyone attending via audio only or who has any vision disability, I'm a white female with dark blonde, soft, long, curly hair, and I have my blue block reader glasses on. Own every day completely. That's my philosophy. It's how I live my life, my days, and how I lead. So what does own every day completely mean? It means living a life, a day with purpose. It means I'm a mindfulness practitioner and I really try to live a mindful life. So the question is, are there any other mindfulness practitioners here? I'm thinking maybe anyone meditate, post in the chat if you're a mindfulness practitioner. Now, I understand that owning every day completely could easily be misinterpreted that I love going a million miles an hour, but it means that I own when I'm going to veg out. Veg out, anyone do that? Lie still like a vegetable. You find a nice place on the couch. And for me, make sure I have a full glass of water. I set aside the amount of time I have to completely veg out, whether it be the length of the movie or reading a book, and I enjoy it. It didn't happen accidentally. I didn't just accidentally, all of a sudden an hour went by on the couch. It was on purpose. It means that regardless of what I'm doing, whether I'm washing the dishes, out on a run, eating lunch, playing Xbox, or a conversation at work, that's what I try to do at that moment, to try to be present. One of the techniques I use to own every day completely is time boxes. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever heard or used time boxes, but basically I divide my day into boxes. For example, from 4:30 to 8 a.m. in the morning is my fitness and family time. So every day I start my day getting all hot and sweaty with my hubby out on a run. Yeah, I'm an all-American runner. So yes, I still start my days out on a run. Freshen up, have an amazing breakfast, prep my lunch, prep my dinner. So at 8 a.m., when I show up at work in my backyard in a separate building, I am 100% focused and dedicated strictly to work, sans any emergencies. Now, the entire day is not one time box, obviously. I don't do to-do lists. If I have something to do, then I have to have time to do it. So I book time on my calendar for everything that needs to get done. That means at 8 a.m., I'm in my 8 a.m. meeting. I'm not thinking about my 9 or my 10. And you know I'm not thinking about my lunch because I already got that prep before I started work. I'm in my 8 o'clock meeting. And I try to really have a great 8 o'clock meeting. Now, after I have a great 8 o'clock meeting, I'm on a roll. So when I go into my 8:30, I have a great 8:30 meeting. And after you've had like 2 or 3 of these, you find out you had a great half a day. Now, after I've had a great half a day, I'm on a roll, and chances are I'm going to have a very productive and amazing complete day. Now, after a couple of those, I think you're getting the hint. I have a great week. And after a couple of great productive weeks, I'll end up with an amazing month. In a few months, I'll end up with an amazing quarter. And before you know it, I've had an entire great year. After a few years, I've had a great life. But it starts with a great 8 a.m. meeting. I also have a great time box I use, particularly when my son was young. He's getting married next month, but when he was a toddler, that 5 to 8 p.m., I put on my mom cape. I lived in the East Coast at that time in the United States. So if someone asked for a 5:30 p.m. meeting, I'd offer them 8 p.m. Eastern. If they really needed it, they would take it. If not, I'd offer them 6 a.m. Eastern because I could squeeze them in for an emergency at that time if they needed it. It was amazing. No one really ever needed that 5:30 p.m. meeting, but they would have taken it if I would have given it to them, and I would have missed that story time. And then who knows if my son would have graduated college. It's important to be at the time when you are. So like right now, I'm in Toastmasters. This is my time to be a mindful communicator and to help everyone else be a successful communicator. Now this leads to the question of the day. What's Doreen's leadership style? And to this, I give 3-point answer. The first is I'm a talent scout and a coach. I find the best people and the best ideas and then coach them into fruition. The second is I lead leaders. So therefore, I have no choice. I have to lead through influence. It can't be because I told them to do so. Followers don't do something just because you tell them to do so. And I've been an executive in the Fortune level for over 20 years. So I have to lead through influence. But the most important thing is point number 3. I lead through example. I'm present. I'm in my meetings and I'm excited about every day. And I try to make every day and every meeting as best as it can be. Because at the end of the day, we only have one chance to make Tuesday, May 16th, amazing. And for those of you in India, you're on Wednesday, so it's already gone. But you have a chance right now to make an amazing May 17th of 2023, because when the day is over, it's gone. So I try to lead and live by owning every day completely. And with that, I say, happy Tuesday, or for those of you on Wednesday already, have an amazing Wednesday. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Doreen, for introducing time boxes of the day, very powerful. Now I would like to talk about expense planning, which is, I'm sure all of us plan our expenses in one way, either directly or tacitly. There is a good saying which says, do not spend what is left after saving, but spend to live your life. Enjoy and enjoy everything that you're spending on. But what I would like to highlight today is the various expenses categories. Expenses can be categorized into fixed and variable. Fixed expenses are those which are consistent each month, and variable depend on the choices that you make. It could vary based on, for example, the electricity bill is not necessarily controlled and is not consistent each month, but the rent that you pay is generally consistent each month. And the second category in which you can also divide your expenses, it is controllable and non-controllable. There are expenses which you don't have any control on. For example, there are medical expenses, which is generally a must to have at that particular time. But controllable expenses are more around where you have the discretion and you can plan for them. So it is very important that you plan your savings in advance, as to what is your financial goal, how much you want to save for your retirement, what is it that you want to save for your dream house, if any. And then also plan for your expenses, knowing what are your controllable expenses, what are your fixed expenses, and have clarity around the amount of savings that you're having each month or each year. The saving range depends completely, and I checked that it is spread very, the percentage of savings depend completely, and each country is having a different range. For example, it could range from 30 to as low as 2%, depending on where you are from. That was quite enlightening for me when ChatGPT threw those numbers at me. But yes, but you should have your own plan around what is it that you want to save and what is it that you should focus on spending. With this, I would like to introduce the speaker 2, which is Lydia, and the evaluator is Lydia and speaker 2 is Milind. May I call upon Lydia to introduce the topic? Lydia, you're speaking on mute.
That would be help. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. The speaker is Milind, and he is working on his first speech from the Dynamic Leadership Level 1 Project 2. The purpose of the project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and then to apply the feedback to a second speech. The speech is called Respectfully Yours. We will have 5 to 7 minutes, and I look forward to hearing your speech.
Respectfully yours, Milind Patwardhan. Milind Patwardhan, respectfully yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, my fellow Toastmasters, and my evaluator, Lydia. We all are Toastmasters, and we know that we all have 4 values which we espouse, right? Integrity, service, excellence. And what is the 4th one? You raised your hand. Suzanne, is there something I have to do?
No, it's just for the timer.
Yeah, okay. So there are these are the 4 values. And what is the 4th value, Ekta? Do you recall? Integrity, service, excellence. And what is the 4th one?
Respect.
Respect. Today, I am going to talk a little about this value of respect. Now, don't get me wrong. We all are respectful. But the problem is that we are selectively respectful. You know, we are a bit frugal at times when it comes to showing respect. I'll give you an example. Like when we are respectful to our teachers, but we are not as respectful to our parents. We are respectful to our superiors in office, but we are not so respectful to our subordinates or to our peers. Why go far? Even when you are traveling, if there is a well-dressed person who comes and sits next to you, you suddenly start behaving a little more respectfully. Whereas if there is a modestly dressed person who comes, you do not show the same kind of respect. This is what I'm going to talk to you. And I'm going to tell you a small story which a cousin of mine narrated just a few days back about how sometimes respect can even save your life. Now, my cousin is a Rotarian and he's in charge of a skin bank. And in a skin bank, you have to maintain the temperature at a certain level. It's about 4 to 5 degrees centigrade. In order to maintain that temperature, they have a big AC plant. Now, this AC plant, when it comes to summer, used to often break down. So what they had done was they had hired a servicing company who used to send their technicians whenever there used to be a problem. Now, as luck may have had it, one of these days, there was a problem. Now, the servicing company had a bunch of technicians. They used to send whoever is available. They sent one guy that day whose name is Avinash. Now, Avinash used to often come to the skin bank. He came in the morning. He understood the problem. He got into the skin bank. The AC plant was deep inside. So he went over there and he started looking into the problem. And Avinash got so engrossed with that problem that he just lost track of time. He had his lunch. He again started working. And suddenly he realized that it is 6:30 in the evening. He got a shock of his life. He ran to the door of that skin bank because he knew that the skin bank closes at 5:30. And as he had guessed, the door was closed. Avinash didn't know what to do. He just slumped on the floor over there and was wondering now what am I, because the skin bank was now going to open only the next day at 11 o'clock in the morning. So 15 hours he had to survive in that room, which had already started reaching the temperature of 4 to 5 degrees centigrade. He was not very well dressed. He was wearing his normal office attire. He didn't have any food. He just had little water. He didn't even have access to the washroom. So he got so hassled. He got so disturbed and he's just slumped over there and started feeling a little drowsy and fell asleep. Suddenly, after some time, the door opened. Avinash got up. He ran out of the door without even bothering to see who had opened the door. He went into the corridor. There was a bench. He sat there and he started rubbing his body vigorously because by the time he had started getting the chill. And after he had stabilized a little, he just looked up to find out who had opened. And then he saw it was that chowkidar or the gatekeeper of that plant, of that skin bank who was there. He said, Ramdas, how did you get to know that I am here inside? It's already 7 o'clock. What are you doing here? To which what Ramdas replied is something very important. Ramdas said, Avinash, you are one of the few technicians who, when you come in the morning, whenever you come to the skin bank, you make it a point to say hello to me, give a pat on my back, inquire about my daughter, do some small talk, and then go. And even when you are done with your work in the evening, when you are going back, you always make it a point to tell me about the status of work. Although I have got nothing to do with it. It's my superior who should know. But you still tell me that work is done, work is half done. You again do some small chat and then you go. You show me that respect. That day, today in the evening, when I was going to my house after I closed the door on my motorcycle, midway, I suddenly remembered, oh, Avinash had come in the morning, but I didn't remember you going back in the evening because you didn't wish me. And then it suddenly struck me, oh my goodness, is Avinash stuck inside the skin bank? And then I turned my motorcycle and I came back and he drew back almost for half an hour. And as I now find that, yes, thank God I came back because you were actually trapped inside. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters, just think about it. Why did Ramdas come back? Ramdas came back because that simple act of respect that Avinash used to consistently show when he used to come. Isn't it so important? Is it not really a very important value that Toastmasters has taught us about? And just think about it, that in Toastmasters, we also do evaluation. Now, what is one of the fundamental things of evaluation? When you are evaluating, you should not be advising, you should be giving feedback. And when you're giving feedback, You should be giving constructive feedback, isn't it? This is all respect is what respect is all about. Whether you're a professional, whether you're at home, whether you're in your office, or whether you're at Toastmasters, it is very important. And being respectful doesn't mean that you have to be servile, or you have to be docile, or you have to listen to anything and everything. No, that it doesn't mean. Being respectful means being courteous, being honest, being empathetic, consistently, not frugally, not selectively. This is all that what being respectful is all about. So I urge each one of you, as professionals, as Toastmasters, as whatever you are doing in your personal life, to make sure that as Toastmasters, when you are developing your communication skills, your leadership skills, don't also forget to give equal attention to these values of Toastmasters and respect in particular. Respectfully yours, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Milind, for talking about a key aspect of Toastmasters, which is respect. The third topic that I would like to talk about is asset planning. They say do not put all your eggs in one basket, which means that you need to diversify your investments. Assets are classified into fixed assets and current assets. Fixed assets are long-term physical assets, such as property, plant, and equipment, which have a longer duration, more than generally 1 year. Current assets are short-term and are typically used up within that year, and they have a smaller life and are used. For example, current asset could be a new dress that you've bought, right? That will give you the benefit that you will get from it is going to be for short-lived, while anything that you've bought, like a vehicle, that could be your fixed assets. What is important is you should also have an emergency fund, right? When you're planning for your assets, emergency fund is something that is, you should have about 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in a liquid form, which is also a high yield savings account maybe, or it could be a fixed deposit, which could be closed as per when needed, so that you get more savings versus a savings, maintaining it directly in your savings account. Generally, there is feature in the banks where you can have sweep accounts where you can sweep your fixed deposits when needed, which generally give you greater amount of interest versus having the funds in your savings account. And your investment strategy should depend on your risk tolerance and investment goals. Develop a diversified investment portfolio based on objectives, time horizon, and risk tolerance. It could be a mix of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, and other investment vehicles. The investment that gives you both short-term and long-term benefit is investment in real estate, right? Because if you invest there, you not only get rent from which is on a regular basis, but the value of your property also appreciates. So try and have a certain amount invested in real estates for getting that dual income from one investment. What is also important in asset planning is having your estate planning, right? Ensuring that you have a list of all your assets, which is shared with your significant other or your relatives, which comes in handy in times of need. There have been instances where when someone has lost their dear family member, they were not aware of all the investments that were made by that person, and then all the savings that that person made went in vain. So it's very important that you keep one list where all your investments are updated, and someone who needs, and you have also nominated your family members where needed. For example, in banks, it is very important that you nominate someone in case of emergency who can use those funds when needed. So these are some tips that I wanted to share on asset planning. With this, I would like to now call upon our special table topic master, Maya.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Ekta. I would need some volunteers for this session. So could you please raise your hand so that I can give you the topics? Or I would call the names out. Okay, Mohan. I saw Mohan. Mohan, for you, the topic is, what's the craziest dream you have ever had? What's the craziest dream you have ever had?
For whom?
Mohan.
Craziest dream I ever had. I I mean I get dreams. I get dreams quite frequently, but there was only one day uh, where I felt the dream was pretty much crazy. I recollect when I was a young kid. I was going to school. I was going to school, playing with my sister. I was listening to my parents. I had a very pretty decent situation. But I had a dream one night that I was playing chess whole night for a couple of days. I was actually a chess player. So when I recollect that day, I'm not sure whether that was crazy or not. So I kept on playing that game. I usually play with both the whites and as well from the black side. I mean, there are two sides, right? From the white and the black, and in the chess, both as well. I thought I was playing that game several days actually. From it happened around when I was in around my ninth standard, around 14-year-old. I'm really recollecting it, so it is taking some time. So I used to play the game with a lot of my friends when I was in school, nearby places, and also with my friends. I used to play it for hours together. Sometimes in the morning, say 7 to 9, sometimes in the evening. One day I got a dream that I was playing with one of the international players. And in fact, the other day, my father took me to one of the tournaments. I happened to meet Mr. Harikrishna, who was a grandmaster at that time, the finest grandmasters from India. And in fact, that was one of the craziest dream that also came true. Of course, I crossed my time limit though. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mohan. Yeah, I now request Milin. For you, it's how do you define success? How do you define success, Milin?
Thank you very much, Table Topic Master, for a very profound topic. How do you define success? All of us are wondering, right? All of us, number one, I want to be successful for sure, right, Guillermo? You want to be successful in what you're doing. Monica wants to be successful in what she's doing. But then what is success? I think that is something, we are like we have our Ekta today who's talking about financial planning. And therefore, we all are thinking that we are going to be successful when we have so much of a balance in our banks, or we have so much of a shares, or we have this much of a property, and so on and so forth. But is that really what is success? Just think about it. Of course, you have to be financially strong. You have to be health-wise, you have to be good. These are all there. So when you're talking of being successful, in my opinion, there are various things that you should be mindful. Like Ekta just now talked about asset allocation, right? So you should not put all your eggs into the same basket, saying that only when I reach that much of a bank balance, I am going to be successful. You have to look at a basket of things. That, okay, financial well-being is one of the things. Having good health, not just physical health, but even mental health. You know, these days I'm reading this book, or I just completed rather, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, Ferrari by Robin Sharma. And it is a wonderful book. I would urge each one of you to not just read it once, but maybe 2 times, 3 times. But there he very nicely defines that success is not only about, being that lawyer, which that guy was, and that's not only success. You have to be physically well. You have to be mentally well. You should have friends. You should have an enriched mind. You should have a social network. All these things, Maya, which according to me, slowly and gradually, and success is not a destination. Success is a journey. Enjoy the journey. Like in Bhagavad Gita say, Karmanya adhikaraste ma phaleshu sadacharam, which means that don't bother about the results, focus on the processes. So in my opinion, success is all these things, and don't get fixated on this. Follow the processes. You would be anyway successful. I hope it meets your requirement, Maya.
Thank you so much, Milind. And it was, success is a journey, you rightly said. Okay, and now I will request Doreen. For you, it's if you could switch lives with anyone for a day, who would it be and why? If you could switch lives with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
If I could switch lives with anyone, who would it be and why? Melinda, I think you have your mute off still. Well, I would say I'd have to be frugal with my time to use the word of the day, but I'm not sure how that applies with who I would switch my life with. Truth be told, I really like my life. I wouldn't want to switch it with anybody's. I mean, I've been working on making it the best life it could and arranging my days and my situation and my family and my friends to have the life that I've wanted since the day I was born, and have been at it for quite a while. And I have to say, I really like my life. So if there's anything I'd want different in my life, I would probably spend the energy and actually just change that rather than long for and desiring to be someone else. I would just focus on what I've been doing. Truth be told, I always adjust my life. If it's like at one point, I used to drink soda, which anybody who knows me is like, wow, you drink soda? It's embarrassing. It's not even, I drink water. So anything I don't like about my life, I'd look at it and say, well, that's not right. And I change it. And so I make my life exactly the way I want it. So it would be amazing in theory to have that power, but truth be told, I really like my life. So I just keep being me. But thank you for the question. That was a really great, deep, thoughtful question.
Thank you so much, Doreen. I loved your perspective on it. Yeah, lovely it was. Thank you. Jay. Yes. Jay, do you believe in luck?
Okay, so that's all. That is the topic. Do I believe in luck?
Yeah.
So yes, I would say I would believe in a luck. And when we were discussing just now, for being successful, it is not only necessary that you work hard. It may happen that if you are in a bad luck, your all efforts may not work. And if you are at the right time, at the right place, which I would consider as a being lucky, and then you work hard, you may achieve a very great success. And I have seen that people many times that underestimate the amount of luck which is there in anybody's success. When we look at the people's origin, in which kind of family or which kind of country they take birth, all this kind of factors, what kind of environment they get, what kind of education they get, many of these things are not at all in their hand, and it is depending on luck. But yes, you can always take the maximum advantage, or I can say unfair advantage, of whatever lucky or situation you have got. And if you work hard on that, then you can definitely achieve success. But when there is a success, we should not contribute everything to hard work. Luck plays a very large role in anybody's success. So that is my perception about luck. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, it was a wonderful perspective. Next, we can have Dilip.
Yeah, Maya.
Yes, Dilip, for you, it's what do you love most about yourself? What do you love most about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. I love most about myself is, looking for the feedback and improving my skills or my weaknesses. So last week I had a topic where I explained how I utilize my struggles to and overcome the struggles to achieve success. So I always look for feedback, constructive feedback, as Milind was talking about. So I always look for a constructive feedback where I can get and where I can improve myself for a better tomorrow. And also for me, success is improving myself from where I am today to tomorrow. So definitely that I love most about myself, that is taking the feedback from others, respectively taking it and improving on myself. Thank you for the opportunity, Maya.
Thank you so much, Dilip. Yeah, continuous improvement, that's the thing you are looking for. Like, yeah. I don't see any more hands raised. Our Ekta tabletop.
I see
Hello.
James raising his hand, Maya.
Okay.
I'm willing to go if there's time still.
Oh, yeah.
We can go for one more.
Okay, James, for you, when you help someone, do you ever think what's in it for me? When you help someone, do you ever think what's in it for me?
Absolutely. I know the popular thing or the right thing is to say, oh, I only do it for them. I'm so selfless. But no. If I see a situation in which someone needs help, usually I help, but it's a nice bonus if it also helps me. It's a big bonus, actually. For example, if last winter I was shoving my driveway from, getting the snow off, and there was a lady. She was like 80 years old, and she said, "Hey, would you help me shove my driveway?" And I said, "Yeah, of course. And then she said, "Oh, I'll also give you money." I was even happier, So I try to do things for others without thinking that they're going to do things for me. But to say that I don't think, hey, what's in it for me, would be a lie. Yeah, thank you for the topic.
Thank you so much, James.
Thank you, Maya,
Thank you.
For running an interesting session today on table topics, and thank you for the participants. Moving to the next topic today is planning for our liabilities. It is very important that we understand what are the various types of liabilities. Like assets, there are current liabilities and long-term liabilities as well. And what are current liabilities? Current liabilities are liabilities where you need to pay in a very short period of time. And when it comes to personal finance, examples could be credit credit cards that we need to keep paying on time. Here, I would like to talk about the importance of ensuring that we repay our credit cards on time and avoid overspending on credit when we doubt that we can pay back it in the real time, because the credit card interests are higher than any other personal loans for that matter, right? So plan your sources of debt in with careful evaluation of the rate of interest that you need to pay. And also, while taking loans, there are times when we take loans for assets that we want to buy. For example, generally it is when we are investing in a house property or a landed property, most of us will have to take loans. And I think it is also a good loan, they say, when you invest in a long-term appreciating property. While debt service coverage ratio is something that should be kept in mind while planning for your loans. And what is a debt service coverage ratio, right? It is how much of your income you will be able to repay the loan. I think generally the good number is about 30% of your income can be taken as your EMI. That's the average that generally that banks follow while giving you any loans. So that is on the loans and interest planning. But what is most important is also ensuring that we have insurance to cover our risks. So ensure that you also plan to have insurances for health coverages, for your life risks, etc., to cover for any risks. And also, I am hoping that talking about income, expenses, assets, and liabilities has given you some thought around what you should be planning your finances around. With this, I would like to call upon the evaluators for today. So can I call upon evaluator 1, Kamesh, to give the evaluation on speech 1?
Evaluation 1 is, I think, Doreen's
Pramod,
speech.
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. When some people speak, we get lost in the speech and we don't count the ahs, ums, or we forget the fact that we are here to evaluate the speech and give constructive feedback to the speaker. And today, the speech delivered by Doreen is one such speech that she started saying mindfulness, and it was so structured. Let me tell you, this was something I was really looking forward. We all have different problems, but most of our problems can be solved by following one particular path. And this is that right path. That time box will solve most of your problems. You are a TMoD, you don't get time to prepare. You are a Toastmaster, you have a speech to deliver, and you forget to do that because you're not following the timeline. So in a way, you made my day. You had given me more insights. So this is a good example of a Toastmasters speech topic. I think this is a careful selection because you are always aware about your audience. And the good thing is that it was so structured that she understood the magic of utilizing the 6 minute or 7 minutes, and by providing some value to the listeners, to the audience. It was no way frugal, it was full of extravaganza. It was full of fun and extravaganza with a lot of insights. I don't have anything more to say about this speech because I really loved it. Your vocabulary, your command over English, your published over everything is visible in the speech. The way you took the audience, the command over language, the way the transitions were so smooth. At the time, even I didn't realize that you are jumping from one topic to another because it was just flowing like a good old river. Yeah. And if I have to give you some feedbacks. One thing which I noticed in an international club is that we are all coming from different country. I'm from Asia, India, and many people are from, you are a native English speaker. But when you are speaking, I think you should be mindful about this fact that there are people from other continents as well. They don't follow this much English. If you speak so fast, sometimes they will get lost. They didn't get the total idea of the speech. That's my humble request for you. But maybe you can pace your speech a little bit slower so that people will get time to comprehend it and then they go. Second thing, it was a beautiful speech. I wished you could have used the entire 7 minutes 30 seconds for your benefit. But I think you left the speech around 6 minutes 30 seconds. That's the maximum you spoke about it. I was just listening to it. I wish that you could have spoken more, at least some 1 minute more, so that we would get some more value out of it. Those are the two recommendations. It was fantastic. Next level speech, I would say. Oh, back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Pramod, for an excellent evaluation. I would now request evaluator 2, Lydia, to speak, give her evaluation for the speech by Milind. Over to you, Lydia.
Thank you. We had the pleasure of listening to a speech about respect. Respect is something that we all need to have, that basically makes our relationships with other people just so much more better. The things that I enjoyed about your speech, well, there were many things that you did well, but especially one thing that I really enjoyed was how you made a connection with your audience from the very beginning. You had audience participation by bringing in the example of Toastmasters and the different values that Toastmasters have, and you left respect as that last one to actually lead into your topic. So I enjoyed how you did that, as well as one thing that really I could connect with was when you were talking about respect, and you gave an example of how children would give respect to teachers at school, but not give respect to the parents. And I chuckled when you said that as being the parent of 4 children, I experienced that firsthand. So that was 2 very good examples of how you did make a connection with the audience. The other thing I think you did very well is the stories that you told. You told stories about the AC and how the relationship between you and the other people that were working there. Which actually brings me to my third point, which is that your speech was very clearly organized. You made the beginning of the Toastmasters and the connection, the introduction into respect. You had your story about the skin bank, and then you apply that again, bring it back to Toastmasters and saying how we could apply respect and giving evaluations and constructive feedback, which I'm hoping that I'm able to give, not be frugal in the amount of respect that I am providing to you with this evaluation. So there's just a couple of things. I was a little confused about how the AC story actually connected with the respect. I thought maybe if you could make a little more clarity about how respect applied in that relationship, then we could see how it would also relate back to that whole Toastmasters, which is were kind of your sandwich points there. Another thing is your speech was just a little bit fast. Sometimes I had a little bit of a problem understanding. And one thing that I feel really would bring your speech to the next level is modulation, adding pauses, adding different voices that would really add some color to your speech. So overall, this was a very good speech. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to your second speech. Back to you.
Thank you, Lydia, for the evaluation. Now I would like to call upon the tag team timer. Can you please, Susan, can you help us with the timer report?
By all means, Madam Toastmaster. Our first speaker had a required time 5 to 7 minutes. Doreen, she spoke for 5 minutes and 58 seconds. Second speaker, also 5 to 7 minute requirement, 6 minutes and 57 seconds. On the table topics, the required time is 1 to 2 minutes with a maximum of 2:30. Mohan, 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Milind, 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Doreen, 1 minute and 52 seconds. Jay, 1 minute and 37 seconds. Delete 53 seconds. You were a little frugal on your words. 2 more words or more, you might have made it to the green. Guillermo, 1 minute 25 seconds. On the evaluators, TMoD, required time 2 to 3 minutes. Timing was 3 minutes and 14 seconds. And Lydia, 3 minutes and 26 seconds. And that concludes my report for today.
Thank you so much, Susan, for your report. And I think we've used the word of the day, frugal, quite a lot today. And I would now like to call upon Doreen to give us the report as the grammarian for the day.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate that the attendees were not frugal with the word frugal. So our Toastmaster of the day, Ekta, you did use the word of the day numerous times. One of the great things is when you did the theme of the day and you went over the various parts, it was really well organized. There was a list of 3 and there's 4 topics for here and there's 5 sources of incomes here. And so it was really very organized where I knew it's like, okay, this is how many things I'm gonna get here, how many things I get here. So really, really enjoyed that. There was at least one time where you edited yourself, where you said you can, and then you should. And I know when you practice a speech that happens, but one of the things you want to do when you're practicing is understanding, even if internally you correct yourself, not to say that verbally, because at that point, it doesn't matter, it's already out the bag, right? But great job. I understand it's a habit we all do. There did seem like potentially it felt to me that there was parts in the middle that you were less familiar with. In the beginning, it seemed like you might have practiced and rehearsed, but maybe you didn't have time for all of the parts. So that would just be one feedback, but it was very well organized. And I loved how you always had a finite number for each of the parts, and you were very generous. You weren't frugal at all with the word frugal. I, of course, forgot the word of the day in my speech. Milind did use the word of the day twice and did a really great job and seemed exceptionally comfortable in speaking. It was very natural, but yet it was still very clean and had all the vocal variety and everything like that. So it was really quite delightful. I liked your emphasis on constructive feedback and the construct of respect. And we are all here to grow. That was, I mean, it just was a great point to drive home, in addition to the fact that it was buried within your speech and a great message. I really enjoyed that. Mohan's craziest dream. You had said, I was going to go, and then you switched, I had. And so it's very important to take 30 seconds when you get the question. Don't worry about it. Think about how you're going to approach it and then just go for it. Maybe you can think of 2 different things you can mention on it, but don't worry to just pause and think instead of restarting the sentence a few times. That will really help increase the clarity for the listeners. But you did come up with a definitely crazy dream. Truth be told, I don't know that I would recognize that chess champion myself, so I know never to play chess with you. Good information to have, don't. Milling, you defined success as a basket of success. Love the concept and that success was a journey. I don't know if that time you had used the word of the day multiple times, but that exact time, I don't think that I had heard it. Jay, then you believed in luck. I don't think I heard the word of the day, but I liked how you brought up the concept that you can take unfair advantage of luck. I really enjoyed that because I always like to think life isn't fair, but those few times when it's to your advantage, right? One of these days, when it's not fair, one of these times it has to be to your advantage. And I think it's true. It's about finding that one time when it just happens to be to your advantage and seeing if you could capitalize on it and understand that sometimes, you may only get one of those in life to where there's really that opportunity. So one thing to be prepared is always be prepared to seize the day. Carpe diem. Dilip, you love most about yourself. You seek constructive feedback for a better self tomorrow. Beautiful concept. Really enjoyed listening to your description. It was fantastic. James, when you help get anything from it, absolutely loved your candor. And I think it was refreshingly candor, because a lot of us learn at a very young age that you get so much from giving. And truth be told, I advise friends when they're having a bad day, I'm like, go see if you can help someone. Right? Nothing gets a funk mood gone faster than helping someone else. And so I loved your candor, because it's true, because nothing is more satisfying and fulfilling than when you can help someone else. It's one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself, is to help someone else. Wonderful. On the evaluations, we had great word of the day too. Pramod used the word of the day, and you're very eloquent in your words and the pictures you drew. So I absolutely admired your complete construct of your feedback. I was listening to so much and how beautiful it was constructed that I almost forgot that you were giving me feedback. So a great job, beautiful speaker. Lydia, I could connect with. Great use in evaluation. I loved, because when you do the training on the feedback, they always said, I thought, I felt, I could connect with. One of the other things that I picked up, Lydia, is you had amazing variation between all the different points. You didn't use the same trick. You said, I could connect with. Another thing you did really well, it was very enjoyable. Great vocal variation, word choice variation, and you used the word of the day. Susan, also in the timer report, amazing way to work in the time, frugal with the 2-word choice to make the time. Great job as always. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Doreen, for the evaluation. Now I would like to call upon Kamesh, our contact for the day.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, I'm happy to convey the message that a lot of the speakers were more focused on using the ahs, ums, and filler words with more fragility. I hardly hear the ahs and ums from most of the speakers. Coming to the report, J. Jaspal has used as 1 time, Lydia 1 time, Mohan 3 times, whereas Ekta, I heard like more than 5 times, more than 5 times. There were few repeated words like head or spend. And for the Milind, he used didn't 2 times. Mohan used young 2 times and decent 2 times. This is a report from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamesh. Do we now? I think I would like to conclude with saying that we need to keep make changes to our plans because of the environment. Things keep changing. We need to continuously reassess our goals, make adjustments because the market conditions change. It is also important that you adapt and make plans and keep working on your revised financial goals and plans as your life progresses. And with this, I would request if there's any general evaluation or feedback that anyone would want to share with me, specifically on how I did, I would call upon the Toastmasters to help me with their feedback on the meeting on how it could have done better. Yes, Doreen.
I gave I gave you some feedback, but I really loved how you introduced our guests in the beginning, because I think a lot of times we did it at the end. And I know it's good to get their feedback at the end, but I really enjoyed meeting them up front.
Thank you, Doreen.
Great job.
Yeah, I think a very relevant topic, and this kind of a topic sometimes one gets into a little complicated explanations, but you very nicely brought those 4 topics: asset allocation, income, this, that, and the other. Very, very helpful. Thank you. Now only send us the check so that we can start planning.
Thank you so much, Milan. Any guests